moment that photo popped up on my phone, I swear my blood froze in my veins. There she was, my fiancée, hand in hand with her ex. Not a rumor, not a guess, not some twisted imagination. A real photo, plain as day. And the worst part, it wasn't even on her account. It wasn't on his either. It was buried in a mutual friend's Instagram story, the kind that disappears in 24 hours. But those few seconds were enough to shatter everything I thought I knew about us. The caption under the picture? Birthday vibes, old flames, new memories. Old flames. Those two words echoed in my head like poison. New memories. Yeah, while I was sitting at home, planning our wedding, believing she was out on some innocent birthday trip with her friends. She had looked me straight in the eyes before she left and said, "Don't worry, babe, it's just a short getaway. I'll come back refreshed." I kissed her goodbye without a single doubt in my heart. But looking at that photo, I realized this wasn't just a trip. It was something else, something much darker, and I wasn't ready for how deep this rabbit hole went. Because what I discovered after that, it wasn't only betrayal, it was strategy, a cruel game I was never supposed to win. Before the storm hit, life with her felt like the kind of story people envy. I used to tell myself I was one of the lucky ones. At 28, I wasn't rich, I wasn't famous, but I had something better. At least, that's what I believed. I had her, my fiancée, my best friend, my supposed forever. We'd been engaged for 8 months, living together in a small but cozy apartment on the edge of the city. I worked as a project manager for a tech company, the kind of job that sounded boring when I explained it at parties, but paid the bills and gave me a steady life. She worked in marketing, always talking about campaigns and clients, always buried in her phone. We balanced each other, at least that's what I thought. Our life was ordinary, but in a comforting way. Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, late-night Netflix binges, cheap takeout dinners because neither of us felt like cooking, inside jokes that only made sense to us. It felt safe, it felt unshakable, and maybe that was my first mistake, thinking that safe meant forever. The first red flag came quietly. She started putting her phone face down on the table. I laughed it off at first, even teased her. "What, you hiding state secrets in there?" She chuckled too quickly, her laugh a little too forced, and said, "No, I just don't want distractions." Back then, I let it slide, but the truth is, she was already practicing her secrets. Then there were the names, or rather, the lack of them. Suddenly, her friends had initials. Instead of "I'm meeting Zoe after work," it became "I'm grabbing coffee with S." Instead of "Tom called me," it was "T just called." She said it was quicker, less effort, but every letter felt like a wall between us. I told myself not to be that guy, not the insecure fiancé, not the paranoid boyfriend. I wanted to trust her because isn't that what love is supposed to be? Blind trust? Unconditional belief? That's what I thought, anyway. And so I ignored the small alarms going off in my head. But then came the birthday trip. One night, while washing dishes together, she said it like it was no big deal. "Oh, the girls are planning a little getaway for my birthday. Just 2 nights. Beach, cocktails, spa day, the usual." I remember the way she said it, casually. As if it had slipped her mind until that exact moment I looked at her, sponge in hand, water running, and asked, "When did you decide this?" She kept her eyes on the glass she was rinsing. "Oh, a while ago. They surprised me with it. It's kinda last minute, honestly." Something didn't sit right. She usually told me everything, every detail, every plan. But a whole trip suddenly sprung on me like it was nothing. She must have noticed the hesitation in my face because she leaned over, kissed me, and said, "Don't worry, babe. It's just a few days. I'll come back refreshed." And like a fool, I let her kiss silence my doubts. But the days leading up to that trip, I noticed more cracks. She bought new clothes, summer dresses, bikinis, that she said were for the spa. She spent hours on her phone, smiling at messages she never shared with me. At night, she'd step onto the balcony, whispering into her phone, her back turned toward me. When I asked who it was, she always gave the same answer. "Just a friend. You don't know them." Those words echoed in my head. You don't know them. A line meant to close the conversation. A wall. And still I swallowed it. Because that's what I did. I trusted her, even when trusting her started to feel like holding a blade by its edge. The night before she left, we sat on the couch. She leaned against me, scrolling on her phone, while I absent-mindedly watched TV. I asked softly, "You excited about the trip?" She looked up, her eyes sparkling with something I couldn't quite name. Guilt, nerves, or maybe excitement, but not the kind I wanted to see. She nodded quickly. "Yeah, it'll be fun. Just what I need." I forced a smile. "You deserve it." Inside, though, I felt a quiet unease, a tension I couldn't shake. Like a storm was coming, but I couldn't see it yet. And when she left the next morning, suitcase in hand, kissing me goodbye at the door, I told myself everything was fine. That I was overthinking, that I was being insecure. I watched her walk away, hair shining in the morning sun, and I convinced myself I was the luckiest man alive. But luck runs out, and mine was about to collapse in the ugliest way possible, because while I thought she was heading off to a weekend of spa treatments and laughter with her girlfriends, she was really boarding a plane into the arms of someone I thought was long gone. Her ex. And I was about to learn that every small red flag I ignored was a breadcrumb leading me straight into hell. When she left for that so-called birthday trip, I tried to act normal. I told myself she deserved it, that she needed a break. I even texted her sweet little messages. "Have fun, babe. Miss you already." She'd reply with short answers, smiley faces, the occasional "miss you too." Not cold, not distant, but not what I expected from someone who claimed to love me as much as she did. I brushed it off. People get busy on trips. Maybe the signal was bad. Maybe she was just caught up in the fun. At least that's what I told myself while pacing the living room, checking my phone every 5 minutes like some lovesick teenager. Then came the photo, the one that shattered everything. It popped up on my feed late at night. A mutual friend had posted a group shot from the beach. At first glance, it looked innocent, just a bunch of people standing together, smiling at the camera. But there, in the corner, half hidden but undeniable, was my fiancé, and right beside her, with his arm brushing hers, was him, her ex. I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity. My throat went dry, my chest felt like it was caving in, and then I saw the caption, "Birthday vibes, old flames, new memories, old flames." My mind kept repeating it, like a cruel chant. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, phone clutched in my hand, scrolling through every tagged post, every story, every photo I could find. Most of them were harmless shots of drinks, sunsets, hotel pools. But every now and then I'd catch a glimpse of her and him, sometimes in the background, sometimes in plain sight. Always close, too close. My brain went to war with itself. One part screamed, "This is it. She's cheating. It's obvious." The other part whispered, "Don't jump to conclusions. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe they're just being friendly." Friendly? Right. Because nothing screams friendship like sneaking off on a trip and holding hands with your ex while your fiancé sits at home, clueless. Still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. I needed proof that couldn't be brushed off with excuses. So I started digging. I checked her location sharing. She had turned it off before she left. First time in 2 years. Red flag. I checked her texts on our shared iPad. She must have realized they synced, because the thread with her ex was wiped clean. Empty. Like nothing ever existed. Red flag number 2. But what she didn't realize was that deleted messages still leave traces. Notifications. Timestamps. Enough breadcrumbs for me to piece together that she'd been texting someone constantly, right before the trip. My hands shook as I scrolled through those tiny fragments of evidence. A timestamp here, a preview there, just enough to drive me insane. I wanted to call her, to scream, to demand answers. But instead, I played it cool. I texted, "Hope you're having fun. Can't wait to see you when you're back." She replied hours later, "Yeah, it's great. Love you." Love you. The words looked empty on the screen, like she was typing them out of habit, not feeling. The day she came back, I watched her walk through the door. She looked radiant, sun-kissed skin, hair tousled, eyes glowing, like someone who'd been living a double life, tasting forbidden fruit and getting away with it. She hugged me, kissed me, told me she missed me, and I hugged her back, pretending nothing was wrong, even though my chest was burning with suspicion. But I started watching her differently, not as my fiancée, but as a suspect. Every move, every word, every glance, it all became evidence. She said she was tired, but she kept checking her phone. She said she was happy to be home, but her eyes lingered on something far away. That night, while she showered, I went through her bag. I found a receipt from a fancy restaurant, 2 entrees, 2 drinks. Not exactly the girls' spa dinner she'd described. I stuffed it back before she noticed, but my suspicions grew teeth. The lies didn't stop there. A week later, she told me she was working late. I decided to test it. I drove by her office around 9 p.m. The parking lot was empty. My stomach turned. I called her, asked casually, "Still at work?" She said yes. Bold-faced lie. That's when paranoia became certainty. She was hiding something, and I was done being the clueless fiancé. I started keeping track, writing things down. Times she said she was one place, but ended up somewhere else. Random gaps in her story. The sudden new perfume I didn't recognize, the way she dressed up for errands, the nervous laughter when I asked simple questions, and then the final nail. One night she fell asleep on the couch, phone clutched in her hand. Gently, carefully, I took it and unlocked it with her thumb. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it would wake her. Her messages were clean, too clean. But Instagram DMs? That's where the ghosts lived, and there it was. A photo of the 2 of them, sitting close at a restaurant, his hand on hers. A message from him. "Can't stop thinking about that trip. You looked amazing." And her reply, "Miss you already." My chest went numb. My body shook. That was it. The proof I had been dreading but expecting. My fiancée wasn't just lying. She was in love with her ex. And in that moment I realized something terrifying. Every smile, every kiss, every love you she'd given me since the trip had been a lie, a cover-up, a performance. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because if she was playing a game, I needed to learn the rules, and I needed to decide how I was going to end it. Because deep down I knew this wasn't just going to be about heartbreak. This was going to be about revenge. I didn't confront her the night I found those messages. Not yet. A younger, angrier version of me would have stormed into the living room, thrown her phone at her, screamed until the neighbors called the cops. But something inside me shifted that night. The rage didn't come in fire. It came in ice, cold, calculated, controlled. Because if she thought she could play games with me, I wasn't going to flip the board. I was going to learn every rule and beat her at it. The next morning I made her breakfast, smiling, casual, like nothing was wrong. She kissed me on the cheek and said, "You're the best." And I almost laughed out loud. The audacity. Inside, though, I was already planning. First step, patience. I needed more proof, something undeniable. Screenshots weren't enough. She could claim they were taken out of context, that they were just jokes or some pathetic excuse. No, I wanted evidence so clear that when the hammer dropped, she wouldn't have a single word left to defend herself. So I started playing detective, quietly. I synced her phone to my laptop, pulling copies of every photo, every hidden folder. I tracked her work late nights by driving past her office, confirming she was never there. I even hired a private investigator, something I never thought I'd do in my life. He followed her one Thursday evening when she claimed she had a team dinner. Guess what? No colleagues, just her ex. Dinner, drinks, his hand on her back as they walked into a hotel together. When the investigator sent me the photos, my hands shook. My body wanted to collapse. But my mind sharpened like a blade. That was it. The undeniable proof. Now came the fun part. I didn't want to just confront her. No, that would have been too easy, too merciful. I wanted her to feel exposed, cornered, stripped of every excuse. So I played along for weeks, pretending, smiling, laughing, acting like the doting fiancé she thought I still was. And the whole time I was building my trap. I moved some of our joint savings into an account under my name only, quietly canceled deposits I'd made for wedding vendors. I even visited our venue and told them we were postponing. She didn't notice a thing. She was too busy sneaking around with her ex, thinking she was untouchable. Then I set the stage. I told her I wanted to throw a small dinner party for her birthday. Just a handful of close friends, nothing fancy. She lit up, hugged me, kissed me, said I was the sweetest man alive. Sweet. She had no idea I was building her gallows. The night of the dinner, I had everything ready. The apartment was spotless, the table set, candles glowing. Friends arrived, laughing, drinking, eating. She played the role of happy fiancée perfectly, laughing at my jokes, holding my hand, looking like she had no secrets in the world. Until I connected my laptop to the TV. "Hey everyone," I said, raising a glass. "Before dessert, I thought it'd be fun to share a little slideshow. Memories of us, the journey we've all been part of." She smiled, clapped her hands, leaned against me. "Oh, you're so cute," she whispered. The screen lit up. Photos of us from the early days, vacations, parties, our engagement night. People cooed, laughed, cheered. And then, slide by slide, the tone shifted. A photo of her on the balcony, whispering into her phone at midnight. Time-stamped. A screenshot of a deleted message notification. "Miss you already." Then the restaurant receipt. The PI's photos, her and her ex, arm in arm, entering a hotel. Gasps filled the room. Conversations stopped. Someone muttered, "Oh my God." I watched her face pale, her smile die, her eyes darting to me, then to the screen, then back again. "What is this?" she whispered, her voice cracking. I turned to her, calm as a stone. "This is the truth. Happy birthday." The room went silent. She stammered, It's not what it looks like. I cut her off. Save it. Everyone can see exactly what it is. You lied. For weeks. For months. You planned a fake birthday trip with your ex and thought I'd never find out. Her friends stared, horrified. A couple of them looked away, embarrassed for her. She reached for me, tears spilling down her face. Please, let me explain. I stepped back. Explain. What, that you missed him already? That you went to a hotel with him while telling me you were working late? Go ahead, explain. We're all listening. But she had nothing. Just sobs, shaking hands, broken excuses that never left her mouth. I stood tall, staring down at the woman I once thought I'd marry, and I said the words I'd been holding back for weeks. You humiliated me. But tonight, you humiliated yourself. And the difference is, you'll never come back from this. The room cleared quickly after that. Friends awkwardly excused themselves, giving me pats on the back, muttering words of support. She collapsed on the couch, crying, begging, saying she'd made a mistake, that it was a moment of weakness, that she still loved me. I laughed, a cold, bitter laugh I didn't recognize as my own. Love? You don't get to use that word anymore. I grabbed my keys, walked out the door, and didn't look back. The weeks that followed were brutal, but freeing. She tried calling, texting, showing up at my office. I ignored her. My PI photos, my screenshots, my slideshow, those spread through our friend group like wildfire. Her reputation crumbled. Her ex, he didn't stick around either. Turns out cheaters don't make good partners for each other. Who knew? Meanwhile, I rebuilt. Slowly, painfully, but I rebuilt. I cut her out of my accounts, my life, my plans. I found strength in silence. And with every passing day, I realized something important. She hadn't destroyed me. She had freed me. Because sometimes the worst heartbreak isn't an ending. It's an unveiling. The mask falls, the lies shatter, and you finally see the person for who they are. And once you do, you can't unsee it. So yes, my partner's birthday trip was with my fiancé's ex, but in the end it wasn't my loss. It was hers. And I'll leave you with the last words I ever spoke to her, the last time she tried to beg for me back. You wanted new memories with old flames? Fine. Burn in them.